Hi there! So, this past week we've been learning about winter and all of the cool things that you can do or that happens during this season. So, today we're going to continue this conversation by reading a book called Wonderful Winter by Bruce Goldstein. We wait and for days to get longer. Winter begins on the winter solstice. In the northern hemisphere, where we live, that's a day near December 22nd. It's the shortest day of the year. Winter ends on the vernal equinox, or the first day of spring. In the northern hemisphere, that's a day near March 20th, when day and night are both 12 hours long. So, on the first day of winter, we have the shortest amount of daytime and the longest nighttime of the year. But as we get closer to spring, the days start to get longer and longer. We wait. When you want to go outside in winter, you can't just run out the door. Wearing many layers of clothing can help you keep warm, but putting everything on takes time. So sometimes in winter you wear sweaters and jackets, scarves, hats, or maybe even mittens or gloves. These clothing layers create air spaces between your skin and the cold. These spaces insulate you, which means they keep the heat from your body. You feel warmer because your body's heat stays in the spaces between layers. Outside, trees wait for warmer weather. In winter, a tree with no leaves isn't dead. It dropped its leaves in the fall because they would be too delicate to survive when it gets cold. Big, flat leaves would also hold too much snow and ice. The weight of all that snow can make branches break. Trees with bare branches can stay strong and save water during all kinds of winter weather. So in the fall, when the leaves fall off the trees do that to protect themselves as the cold weather starts to come in. Other trees have a wonderful way to stay green all winter. Evergreens have needles or leaves that are covered with a heavy wax that protects them. This wax keeps the moisture in an evergreen from freezing. Evergreen needles don't live forever. These trees are evergreen because they're green all year round. Evergreen needles live for 2 to 10 years before they drop to make way for fresh new needles. Some evergreens lose most of their needles in autumn. Others shed old needles throughout the year. So evergreens are kind of similar to Christmas trees, how they have those green pointy needles. Those needles are covered in a special wax to protect them and to retain their water all year round, even in the cold winter. How does winter feel? Does it feel cold or frosty like ice? Toasty like a nice fire? Hard like an ice hockey puck? Soft like a warm hat? Icy like a icicle? Sharp like ice skates? Or cozy like a teddy bear at bedtime? You can see your breath when you go outside, and a buffalo can too. Your breath isn't empty air. It always contains some moisture called water vapor. Warm air can hold more moisture than cold air. So when you exhale, In warm weather, the water vapor in your breath mixes with the air and you don't see anything. But when you exhale in cold weather, water vapor from your breath hits the cold air and condenses into tiny droplets of water and ice. Your breath, or a buffalo's, forms a cloud like a light fog. So the next time you're outside on a really cold day, try to take a breath and breathe out and see if you can see your air in the cold weather. Some animals wait for warm weather by slowing down. Some small animals, including chipmunks, hedgehogs, and several kinds of bats, hibernate in winter. These animals curl up tightly while hibernating. Their heartbeat decreases and their body temperature drops to be almost equal to the cold outside. They don't eat all winter long. Instead, they live off fat stored in their bodies. Every week or two, hibernators wake up and move around, but not for very long. Other animals slow down, but they don't actually hibernate. These include bears, raccoons, skunks, and birds. These animals don't fly to warmer places for winter. These animals go into a very slow state called torpor. A torpor can last a few hours, several days, or even weeks. Animals in torpor also drop their body temperature, but not as much as true hibernators. These animals must wake up when they are hungry or in danger. So in winter, animals have a very deep rest, some longer than others. And they do this all winter long until it's a little warmer and food is easier to come by. Other animals, however, keep moving all winter long to find food. Animals like beavers and some kinds of squirrels and mice gather extra food in the fall, but they still hunt during the winter too. Rabbits, deer, moose, and many birds eat what they can find in winter, such as moss, leaves, twigs, bark, and seeds. Other animals, like the red fox, change their diet when winter comes. Most of the year, foxes eat fruits and insects, but in the winter, when these foods are not available, they eat mice and other small rodents. Animals have some wonderful ways to handle cold weather. Animals adapt to places where they live. Animals that live in cold areas are usually larger and heavier than similar animals living in warmer places. Polar bears are much bigger than tropical bears. Deer in Michigan are larger than similar deer in Florida or Texas. The extra size and weight makes it easier for them to stay warm. Body parts like legs and ears can also adapt. Long, thin body parts lose heat quickly, so legs and ears are smaller in animals that live in cold areas. Snowshoe hares have smaller ears than cottontail rabbits. Polar bears have shorter, thicker legs and snouts and smaller ears than tropical bears. So depending where they live, they have different features that help them stay warm in cold areas or to keep cool in warmer areas. What does winter sound like? Is it a crunch or a crack of fresh snow? The scraping of a snow shovel on the sidewalk? Are they jingle bells? A crackling fire? People singing or going caroling? Or is it quiet when the sun or the snow falls down? It's snowing, one of winter's wonders. Snow begins when clouds get cold. Clouds are made of water vapor. When the temperature is 32 degrees Fahrenheit or lower, water vapor in a cloud freezes and forms snowflakes. A snowflake starts as a tiny ice crystal because the crystal is heavier than air. It falls to the ground. As an ice crystal falls, usually at a speed of about 3 or 4 miles per hour, it connects with other crystals and the snowflakes gets bigger and bigger. By the time a snowflake lands, it usually contains about 200 ice crystals. Up close, a snowflake looks clear, or sometimes blue. So why does snow look white on the ground? The same reason that a pile of broken glass looks white. Light enters snow and bounces around in all of those ice crystals. The light we see reflected from snow includes an equal mix of all colors. So when you mix all colors of light equally, you get white light. Is it true that no two snowflakes are alike? A tiny single ice crystal has 6 sides. As it connects with other crystals on the way down, the new crystals connect to these sides and form 6 arms called dendrites. That's why most snowflakes have 6 sides, but that doesn't mean they're all alike. A snowflake is a clump of many ice crystals. Every ice crystal is made of tiny parts called water molecules. These parts are much too small to see without a special microscope. One snowflake contains billions and billions of water molecules. Those tiny parts can be highly unlikely 2 snowflakes would be exactly the same. In fact, it's unlikely 2 snowflakes have ever been exactly the same since the first started falling on Earth. What shape is winter? 6-sided snowflakes aren't the only shape you see in winter. What might you see that is round, or a triangle, or a rectangle? What shapes do you see? Did you ever wonder how icicle forms? Icicles hanging from a root form when the air temperature is below freezing, but sunshine warms snow or ice. The warmed snow melts and starts to drip down the roof. As the water drops reach the edge of the roof, they lose some of their heat to the cold and freeze again. More drops from the roof melt and begin to follow the same path. They drip down the sides of the icicle and then refreeze, creating long, thin icicle shapes. So icicles are made from snow melting but refreezing really, really fast as they drip down. We wait for snow to try some winter sports. People have lots of ways to move fast or slow on snow, such as a snowmobile, snowshoes, snowboard, a sled, or skis. Skates let people slide and spin on ice. Ice skates are shoes with thin metal blades attached to their soles. When the skater steps into the ice, the movement of the blade and the pressure from the skater weight melts the ice just a bit, creating a thin layer of water, as skaters glide and zoom smoothly and quickly because they're actually traveling on water, not hard frozen ice. At last, the waiting and wondering comes to an end. Wonderful winter makes way for spectacular spring. The end. Thanks for reading with me.